Alright guys, what's going on here? Tokyo here. So we're doing our first video ever of walks with Tokyo. So it's kind of cheesy, right? Walks with Tokyo in the sand and on the beach and, you know, pina coladas and fancy drinks and mood rings and things like that. No, screw that. So what is this going to be about? So this again is a preface. The preface is going deeper into content that's normally found on Snapchat, which is that guy Tokyo, all one word on Snapchat. Check it out if you have not. For those of you guys that followed me from Snapchat onto here, thank you. So this first edition or video of this is going to be focusing on one thing, nice Mustang, which is going deeper into wants. So I want to say last week I talked about wants and like what is it that drives humanity right now. Well, there's three categories. So you have the want for sex, you have the want for food, or what's the word? Now I can't even think about it. To consume. There we go. The want to consume or food, and then sleep, and then the different facets of sleeping. So what is that? Laziness, lackadaisical, complacency, right? To sleep mentally, to sleep spiritually, to sleep physically, all those things, which turn out to be very unproductive, right? They hinder us from going further in life, but it feels good. All of these things feel good, which leads to our wants and desires, which is to say that man is a being that was built for endurance, but endurance doesn't feel good, does it? Right? It's like back in gym class when we had to run the mile, when we had to do the suicides, or that stupid freaking run test. You know, the one where that creepy computer voice said one. You had to run from one side of the gym to the other, and it got faster, and the music was all sci-fi techno and shit like that. Yeah, that shit sucked, right? So why would we want to do something like that? Why would we want to push ourselves beyond what is necessary? Well, see, this is where it comes back into the default of mankind, which is that we have brains that are programmed to continue our procreation. Our brains will allow us to only do so much in order to procreate and survive, which is to say that if we didn't have these default mechanisms inside of us, we would actually probably work ourselves to death, because passion, of course, and people still do to this day. So passion being one of those things, or having a desire or an ambition and going 100% into it. Nikola Tesla, they're actually making a movie about him and Ben Franklin. I'm wondering how much of it's going to be truthful to the reality of the situation, which was Ben Franklin used him, took his ideas and used business and law understandings to take advantage and rob him of his fortunes and rights to the property and intellectual content. Anyways, so that's another story. So again, our brains, as crazy as it sounds, are wired for defaulting us into doing just enough to get by. This is for work. This is for physicality. Like, this is also for, if you even want to say it, this is for living. So, you know, we know McDonald's is bad. Now, we don't eat McDonald's all the time, but we'll do it just enough to get by. I like this area. This is on the backside of California. It's a pretty cool setup. They used to do house music on Sundays here. I don't know what happened, but pretty cool place. I wonder if they're still open if they closed down. Dude, I haven't seen shit back here in a long time. Anyways, doesn't matter. See, unlike Snapchat, I actually have a chance to kind of get off tangent a little bit versus have to fucking say something super philosophical and deep within 60 seconds or 50 seconds, whatever the time allows per snap. But the point is that I don't know about you, but it pisses me off. It ticks me off. It is frustrating as shit to think that our default doesn't allow us to do more for ourselves. And in fact, if you are somebody of ambition, you're already an anomaly. You're already above the standard, because most people lack ambition. This is why technology is not advanced as fast. This is why people hate change. This is why people get mad at other people that get the job raised, that get straight A's, because they don't understand how they're able to push past the I don't feel like doing this and be able to make it happen for themselves. I'm one of those people. I used to freaking hate nerds. I used to hate the people that got straight A's all the time because I didn't know how to make myself do the work, do the homework. If I didn't want to do homework, I wouldn't do homework. That's why I never finished college. Instead, I went into sales and made that my career, because guess what? I can BS the shit out of something. Be like, hey, this can of Rockstar right here will change your life. You see energy? You know why you're tired all the time? Because you lack energy. So for just pennies on the dollar, this can give you the energy you need while also making you feel good and upping your dosage of positivity. In fact, these electrolytes actually are positive ions that allow you to feel better about yourself. I'm joking. So, but I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to sell something if you have the gift of gab, if you're able to speak eloquently and convincingly. So, with that being said, my thing is this: the three wants: sex, food, sleep. How do we get beyond those things into things that we should want, which is well-being, health, peace of mind? How do we get those things, right? Well, part of that is, to me, is reverse engineering your wants, reverse engineering your desires, because one thing I forgot to say is the breakdown of wants goes into desires and distractions. So the three wants that there's a bench over there, I'm gonna sit down. I just got done working out, so I'm a little sweaty and out of breath. So wants can get dropped into two different categories, which is desires and distractions. Now, if you ask me, I would tell you that your want for sex, food or consumption, and sleep are distractions. Yeah. Why? Because distractions are the default of humanity, which is, even in your mind, distractions. So thoughts of insecurity, thoughts of complacency, or toxicity thoughts, they're all things that make your self-worth go down because you think people have it better than you do. You think that people are better off than you are. You think that you have it worse off than others. You don't think you look as good as the next person. So our default, again, is really fucked up. And I would almost point it back at the sin of man, or the lack of perfection within man, which goes into the thoughts as well, which is to say that it is very much arguable that this all has stimulated from our parents, right? So, which is to say that our parents aren't perfect. Now, I'm not talking shit on my own mom, but let's be honest, she's human, right? So with that being said, I think a lot transpires. And my dad wasn't around. So in fact, my dad was an abusive drunk, little FYI, and which is why I don't touch alcohol, never have, never will. Now, I'll put my tongue in a wine drink, like if I go to a wine tasting, I'll put my tongue in there, I'll smell it and all that, but I won't drink it. So anyways, so my dad was an abusive alcoholic, right, when I was a baby. And through the process of her having me, right, it was a very hard time for her. So that is to say that these situations can go over into the baby or to the fetus, whatever the case may be, which can develop their psyche in different numbers of ways, right? So with that being said, this is why I do believe that the way we think can be, in essence, a trait of our parents. And it is up to us to overcome and go beyond that. So I do not believe in hereditary being something that is final. I believe that traits within our hereditary whatever can be modified or altered based on willpower. That is to say that there's a guy that I was told about that wrestles, and he's a quadriplegic. I think not quadriplegic. He does not have fully developed legs or fully developed arms, but yet he wrestles and he's able to do really good for himself. So we can rise above any type of adversity we come across. There's a guy in Europe that does not have an arm and does not have arms. I'm sorry. He's a quadriplegic. No, he's a paraplegic, sorry. And his arms, one arm is missing, one arm doesn't work. And so he's able to drift a car and steer with his feet and shift with his shoulder and whatnot. Like, this is real stuff. So it is to say that whatever it is that we desire for, have a burning passion for, we can do those things, but willpower is key in doing so. And so that transcends into my next thing, which is willpower. So how do we get past our default of complacency, of these distractions inside our head within these wants? How do we switch our wants from a distraction to a desire that will be fruitful to our future? Well, that is simply drawing it out. I call it creating a spider web. So if you put down wants, right, and you say wants, circle it, and then you put all your wants, right, and connect them, and then try to identify them, right? So then where you have all your wants, that are the next outside bubbles, you bubble out a desire or a distraction. Do that with each one. So then you have an outside bubble of distractions and desires. And then what you'll do is color those in with green and red, right? It's super elementary, I know, but seriously, it works. So you go in there and you take the greens that are desires, right? Something that is fruitful for your future, and then begin to figure out how to reverse engineer those. So for me, I want to come out with my Tokyo Sun sunglasses. I want to come out with the Anti-Rad clothing line. I want to be able to launch the 501c3. What do those look like? What does it take? I also want to get my box business on a national level and corner the market on the Midwest, so that I'm able to have 100 boxes ship, a week from Kansas City to Oklahoma, Iowa, Nebraska, what's below us, Arkansas, Kansas, right? How do I do that? Well, that's where we reverse engineer the wants into itemize action steps. Action steps is the next thing. You have to have an action step to know where to go next. Without that, you're never going to be able to bring into reality those things or those actions, or see them begin to manifest. We can want something till we're blue in the face, or we can know better about something or an action that we do, but until we actually write down the process of doing it or overcoming it. For instance, if you have an issue with alcohol, right, and you're like, man, every time I go out I drink too much and I'm a mess and blah blah blah, and I ruin friendships and relationships. Well, first off, we point out what's the issue. The issue is that I drink too much. Why do you drink too much? Well, drinking makes me feel good. Okay, what's not making you feel good? Right, so reverse engineering allows you to start creating questions to uncover what the truth of the situation is. And the same thing goes back to our wants, which are distractions. So sex, food or consumption, and sleep. So what makes us want those things? Oftentimes it's the lack of self-fulfillment, which means that me sitting on this bench by this fucking tree, I do not feel like a whole me. I do not feel good about myself without something being added on to my life or existence. So unless I'm consuming this drink, this energy drink, or unless I'm feeding my face with food, which I'm actually really hungry right now, but without me consuming something to feel good, I don't feel good in my current state. Why is that? So then you start asking questions to, well, what do you not feel good about yourself in? What is it that sex provides? For guys, oftentimes, sex provides validation. Ooh, I'm a cool dude. I'm attractive. I'm hot. I got the girl. I got the hot chick. Yeah, me. But at the end of the day, the only thing it does is brings more suffering. Why? Because when you chase that alone, you do not value the human that you're having sex with, and that person gets hurt, or you get hurt. You get attached, not knowing it because you weren't trying to get attached. You don't see the whole person, right? Part of that is, when you have sex, you're not just having sex with a fucking sex doll. It's a human being. So it's like, when you don't take into their wants considerations of who they are, or if you don't just appreciate them beyond the physicality, it makes the sex boring, in my opinion. I'm not gonna have, unless you're paying for sex, to have sex with somebody who you don't value as a person is pointless. So there's that. And then of course with the consumption of food or sleep oftentimes is, I hate my life, I'm gonna sleep it away, right? Or I don't want to think about what I'm thinking about. I don't like how I feel right now, so I'm going to sleep it off. But just like anything else, or just like smoking cigarettes, when you wake up, that problem's still there, and you can't sleep forever because you have to pay bills and do this and do that. So then what happens? Depression, suicide, anxiety starts to manifest with inside that person. They take their own life because they never figured out how to deal with their current state of being. So that's what I have for you for right now. Let me know what you think. This is going on to be 14, probably 15 minutes now. So I just want to say that for those of you guys that actually watched the whole entire thing, thank you. Tell me what you think. Feel free to add in topics, add in questions. If you have any questions like that, add them in the comments, let me know, and I can start touching on those as I make these videos. Because guess what? There's no time limit, right? And unless you have ADD, where you have to be doing 5 things at once, I do want these videos to be something that you can watch continuously through and be able to get something out of it. And again, here's the biggest thing. I am not a know-it-all. I am not a guru. I am just a guy, a humble guy that's starting over in life. I've got nothing to my name, but I've done my due diligence to invest in myself with knowledge and self-development factors, tactics, and have found my own source of creativity and inspiration so that I can manifest my existence to be value for others. So, talk to you soon. Take care. Tokyo out.